Okay, class, I apologize. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty from home, but we'll try to get through this the best we can. So I was working on number 3 here, telling you how that this is supposed to be a no solution. So my goal is to get this to be a -4 so that these will cancel out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this top one by -2. So if I multiply every number here by a -2, this is what I'll get in my first equation. Now, in the second equation, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just kind of recopying it so that they're lined up nice. And I can tell on the right side here, if I add those together, I get a 1. Now, over here, notice this would become 0, which is what I wanted. But now the question is, what would k have to be? So in order for these to go away, the k value right here would have to be a -10. Then that would give me a 0 on the left and a 1 on the right, which makes them not true, which results in no solution. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for my k value to be -10, and that would result in no solution. So again, you've seen no solution before, just looks a little different. Okay, number 4, on the back side here, we're going to inequalities. So they're asking you which one of these inequalities. Well, we can clearly see that this is a vertical line. So vertical lines always have x only. So we know it is not going to be one of those two choices. The other thing we can tell is this goes through 3. Well, if I divide this off, I do get a 3. So at first glance, you might think that that choice you want to eliminate. But if you divide it off, you do get a 3. But notice what 3 you get. Notice it's the negative instead of the positive. So I can tell you right now, it is not going to be that choice. Now this one, at first glance, when you look at it, you think it's the wrong one, but you know we only have one left. But just remember, whenever you divide by a negative, you do have to flip your sign. So technically, choice A comes out to be x is less than +3, which is what we have graphed there. Okay, so it would have been choice A. All right, number 5. Number 5, again, I didn't have a good copy of this, so I tried to draw it the best I can, so hopefully it matches your picture. Couple things here is none of these are in y equals. Now you could go through and put these in y equals, but that's going to take you a long time. And remember, in the SAT, since it is timed, you really got to try to think about ways to be efficient. So when I first look at this, maybe if I try the intercepts. So if I try the intercepts, let's say I try to cover up the x one, notice when I divide that off, it's going to be a -6. And you might be able to tell on your graph, it looks like it might go through -6. So we don't necessarily want to eliminate it based on that choice, okay? So we have to look at maybe a few other things. For instance, on this one, notice the y-intercept would be a 3. The problem is, though, do you see how this is a no bar underneath and that has a solid line? So that's going to eliminate this choice right then and there. Based on that concept alone, look at your choices. Do you see how this one has a bar and has a bar, but this one's dashed? So just based on this alone, we can get rid of that choice. Notice this one over here, choice B. Do you see how they also both have a bar? So we could also get rid of that choice. So really, without even looking at a lot, we can narrow it down to choice D solely based on the way the symbols or the inequalities is. But if you do work this out, if you do check your intercepts and all that, it does actually work. So our answer would be choice D. But I like the fact that when you first looked at this, it might have seemed a lot harder than it really needed to be. And again, that was mostly because double bar, no bars. You needed one of each, and that was the only option that had it. So again, really try to look for some of those shortcuts before you panic or before you put too much work into it, okay? All right, number 6, it says, which system has the solution points in the third quadrant? Again, I tried to paraphrase a little. Well, if you kind of just think about each one of these, if x is greater than 0, that's going up, which right there, this is the third quadrant, Okay, so this is the third one. So it can't be choice A. Okay, if we look at choice B, notice it's shading down below the X, and it's shading greater than the Y. So then it would be shading this way. So that would actually make it the fourth quadrant. So that one's not right. Okay, how about choice C? Notice choice C starts just like choice A. So it's X is greater than. So once again, it's in the wrong spot. So last, I mean, we don't have much other choice here. We better hope this one's right because that's all we've got. But notice it does say X is less than or equal to. So we've got all the points down here. Then it says Y is less than. So instead of how choice B was greater, notice it's less than. So we're going to go this way. And if you notice, the only place they intersect is right there in the third quadrant. So our answer would have been choice D. Okay? So hopefully that wasn't too challenging. What I want you to do now is in your student journal, if I have a copy of it here, in your student journal, I want you to turn to page 167, where it says maintaining math proficiency on page 167. And I want you to go ahead and work these problems out. Probably the most important section is going to be this piece here in the middle. Okay, this is kind of what the next chapter is going to involve, but you will also see some sequences in this next chapter, in chapter 6. So give this a try because this is good review, not only just mathematical review, but for your exam, but you're going to see some different types of sequences, especially what we now call is geometric sequences in the next chapter. Okay, so your homework for this weekend is not too much, just page 167, numbers 1 through 20, and I'll see you back on Monday. Thanks for being good, and one more day to go, guys.